FFIE continuing its upside per our expectations. Let's go ahead and find out exactly what can happen for the next session. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again on this fine Tuesday night. Tonight we're going to be talking about FFIE. We're going to touch on some raw price action and technicals, maybe some statistics. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. So we are looking at FFIE on the 4-hour chart here, and this in particular is the broadening descending wedge that we have been tracking for quite some time now. Okay, so yesterday we did speculate, Monday, we did speculate that we were actually going to break out and potentially come right back down to test our newly converted resistance into support, which is the top trend line from the broadening descending wedge. Okay, so that has happened, and we are definitely continuing our upside trajectory. So we did mention that we were going to potentially reach all the way on an impulsive move to the 1.618 at about 69.11. Now, the 1.618 suggestion actually got caught just a little bit short of it on today's price action, the very high of the candle that we were looking at from early in the early session. So that candle actually ended up touching a high of 66.52, which is very close to that 69.11. But if you are a regular listener, a regular viewer of my channel, then you'll know that I usually suggest for you guys to actually take profit a little early from the actual target itself, as that's common practice within the trade. Okay, so upon that high of that candle of about 66.52 at the early session today, we did face a drawback, which is very much expected since we are making that fourth true breakout attempt of the broadening descending wedge. So we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 iterations, so 3 candles testing that support, newly converted resistance into support before a continuation to the upside, of which we have gotten and have closed at about 57.02. Okay, so now what can we possibly be looking at as far as stops? Well, let's go ahead and open up the next chart. Pardon me. Okay, so first of all, yeah, let's go ahead and touch on the Crypstex ARC-Series indicators, as there are some very important signals here to continue keeping an eye on. So the ARC armor indicator is still suggesting a long signal from which it was fired on December 12th, and that long signal is still being respected up to today. Okay, so now we have started printing the new green moving averages. Now, this is actually something that I mentioned a few days ago from our analysis. I think it may have been on Friday or Thursday last week. But where I said that we're starting to make that curvature, and it looks like we're going to start printing the green exponential moving averages, which are within the algorithm of the ARC armor indicator. Those waves, the directional waves, are able to give us a long signal and short signals based on those exponential moving averages being tested. Okay, so for example, here we have a long signal, it goes up. We have a short signal here, it goes all the way down, long, short, and yeah, it just so happens to be respecting exactly what's happening. Okay, so now we're looking at the long signal being printed on that December 12th iteration, and it still has not printed, even though we have reached that high of about 66.52 from today's candle, and faced a significant drawback to the downside. It still did not print. It still did not print a short signal. So this is very good to consider. Okay, the ARC armor has been proving pretty accurate to me, and these indicators are actually live now. So make sure to reach out to me, send me a DM, and I'll give you details as to how to acquire these outstanding indicators. Okay, so now let's open up DBSI, as that is another indicator that is part of the ARC-Series indicators that is very, very good to consider for our odds. So as you can see here on the 4-hour chart, the bulls are still at 50% win rate, where the bears are at 46%. So the bulls are still in control, and our buy signal was fired off on this candle right here, dated on 12/9. 89. So that was December 9th, and it was fired off at the opening of this candle at about 27.44 cents. So 27 cents, and it has since continued on to the upside, and it has not printed a bearish signal yet. This was the buy signal here with it's a little blue circle right on that December 9th iteration. Okay, so we're still looking good. So now if you're curious as to what this is, what DBSI does, aside from it giving us sell signals and buy signals, it takes a cumulative score statistically to give us a variable, and that variable is actually a mean, and that mean is represented by a percentage, and that percentage is either the bulls winning or the bears winning. So I just want to give it to you as simple and flat bottom as it is. Okay, so a good way to use this indicator is actually with a 13-day exponential moving average, of which I don't have loaded right now, but since the bulls are at 54%, we can absolutely assume that we're still in bullish formation as long as we're above the 13-day moving average, which is right about here-ish. We're still right at about the 45-cent level. We're still on the bull control. So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart now. So this is, you know what, I don't think we actually have to go through the statistics, as our statistical upside move of 28.98% to the upside was met upon reaching the 47-cent level. So since then, we have significantly risen to the top. Now, what I wanted to show you is actually from today's iteration, that same candle that I'm speaking of, the high of the 66.52, I believe it was. As you can see within this Fibonacci retracement, we definitely went right up to that suggestion of the 4 spot 618 landing at 64.89, so just about 65 cents. So we definitely used the 4 spot 618 as a form of resistance, and we actually came back down just shy, barely a cent away from the 2 fib, and have now closed above the 2 spot 618 at 52.42. So this is looking very, very bullish for FFIE. Let's go ahead and move on to the next and last chart here, as I believe there is some important information and very relevant information for our coming session. Okay, so let's go ahead and just focus on these zones here. So these 4 zones are actually blown up for you, but they're located right here on this RSI. Okay, so let's go ahead and just move along the analysis. So we're on the 30-minute time frame, immediate short term. Okay, so the immediate short term has now made a bullish cross above this pink line. This pink line represents a 14-day moving average, which is standard and stock to any RSI setup. Okay, the purple line is the RSI signal. So now we have moved above that moving average. That's a bullish cross, and we have entered the bull strength percentile. Okay, so we're sitting at approximately 61.60%. But please remember, I often mention this, as long as we're in these shallow areas of either zones, the gravitational pull to the opposing zone is likely. Okay, but in this case, we do have the moving average now acting as a form of support. Okay, so that's very good to consider. So this is also the immediate short term. So there is, this is likely to play out sideways just for a little bit before a continuation onto the upside. Let's look at the bi-hourly RSI. Okay, bi-hourly RSI has now crossed the absolute control of bull strength percentile and has just entered ever so slightly into the overbought percentile. So this is still suggesting massive upside, and if we actually just zoom out a little bit, we can actually see that from our current position of about 70, slightly over 70%, we still have plenty of upside. And one of those iterations is actually suggesting about an 89 spot 38% top, which is quite a ways from us, especially if we're considering that we're looking at it within the bi-hourly chart. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We are looking at the 6-hour RSI here, and we have since continued way above the moving average. The moving average is sitting right at the middle of the RSI, right at that 50%. Now, since the RSI signal line from the 6-hour has not crossed just yet into the overbought, we can still consider this to be an absolute bull strength percentile. Okay, so this is suggesting an upside continuation, and we must respect that since it is a little bit of a higher term time frame. Now the 3-day is looking very curious here, as it is suggesting an aggressive upside. It has since made a bullish cross above the moving average, and it's now at the junction between the bear weakness percentile and the bear strength, suggesting a gravitational pull right into bear weakness and a continuation to the upside. Let's look at the buy daily. Buy daily is now approaching the very shallow areas of the bear weakness percentile, suggesting a continuation onto the upside. Still looking very bullish. So, okay, now the daily has now crossed into the bull strength percentile. Now it's very in the very much in the shallow areas of that bull weakness. Man, it's very much in the shallow areas of the bull strength percentile, so please remember that, okay? The gravitational pull back into the prior zone is likely, but it's still suggesting upside. So this is telling me that we are looking at a multi-day upside continuation with some variances here and there, okay? But overall, I still am looking at an overall take profit based on the price objective from the broadening descending wedge, which is by the playbook found at the genesis of the formation itself, located at $1.17, which is in confluence with our 3-spot 618 Fibonacci golden mean at, let's see, $1.14, just about $1.15. So that gives us a resistance range of about $1.14 or $1.15 to about $1.17. Okay, so I think that's something that's very likely to happen. However, we do have some obstacles on the way up. For example, the 1-spot 618 at 69 cents, 69.11, and also the fact that we do have the 2-spot 618 at 91 cents, just about 92 cents. Okay, so please look out for some of those targets. And also, if you would like for me to create a play for the Discord to go long on this play here, since the upside is still visible, comment down below. I want to see if there's anyone interested in watching a play or being a part of a play for the FFIE upside that is incoming. Okay, please know that I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as a form of entertainment only. Okay, as I can't suggest for you to buy or sell any assets. I need you to do your own DD and everything will be fine, you guys. All right, so I think this is a pretty good place for me to call it. Know that I'm going to leave the links in the description below for you to consider joining the ARCa trading community. If you want to say hi on Twitter, please do so. Okay, you guys, but with that said, I wish you well. I wish you a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.